Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's Shazzy. You may know me as Brown Girl Does Makeup. Thank you for clicking on my video. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. And if you would consider subscribing, I would really appreciate that too. So this is the final video of my collections video. This is all my eyeshadow palettes. I have a confession to make. I haven't filmed a collection video in a while. I actually bulk filmed them a while ago, and with everything that's been going on in the world, I kind of took a pause on filming my collection video. And if you watched my October empties video, you would know that there's loads of things that's come to light, and there will be brands that I won't be supporting. I do have them in the videos. You can see in the screen that there's some brands here that I no longer want to support, and that's my thing. So if you don't like it, please don't give me any hate, but I personally don't want to be putting my money to certain things. So they are in my video because they are in my collection and I bought them a while ago. However, I won't be really talking about them. I'll just put them to a side, and I probably won't any longer talk about them unless I'm going to declutter them, and I won't be really talking much about them. I'll just show them that I'm decluttering out of my collection, and that's it. But this isn't a declutter video, this is a collection video, so I'm just showing you what my collection is, and I want to work through what I have and figure out what's working for me and what's not working for me. And in 2024 I will be trying to do a bit of a cleanse and decluttering quite a lot of makeup across the board. In the beginning of my collection videos, I wanted to see what I actually had, and that's why I started the videos. And the more I've done, and now this being the last one, I've actually realized that I have too much and I kind of have regrets buying a lot of stuff, but also at the same time I think doing this has made me realize that I just want things that are work, things that are ethical, things that are, you know, are good for me. Like when I use them, I feel good. I don't feel shitty about myself, to be honest. And I realize a lot of my makeup kind of does make me feel shitty nowadays, so I want to cleanse that out in 2024. Obviously I don't want to be wasteful as well, so I will try and use up products. But with eyeshadows, everyone knows it takes a long time to use up an eyeshadow palette, and I think this is the one area where I might have to be cutthroat with. If I can't depart with it because it really holds a place in my heart, then I won't, but if I can, I will. So that long intro being done, I will start on the palette. So you will notice that there are some brands that I really enjoyed, so I have quite a few palettes from them. Some that sadly I will no longer be purchasing from, and I am really sad about it. I was really sad about it, but now I've overcome that, and I'm just like, it is what it is, and I can save my money as I am, you know, trying to cut my spending and stuff, so it kind of helps me out more. And a lot of it's like from, I think around 2021 was the last time I started purchasing a lot of eyeshadow palettes. So you'll see there's only like 2 eyeshadow palettes that are brand new in my collection that are from recent years. The rest are quite old and I had to stop collecting like my pack of graph ones because of circumstances, and I couldn't justify dropping 100 and something pounds on a eyeshadow palette. So like there's all that stuff, but it's just makeup, it's fun, and you know, it is what it is. So I'm going to begin with some of the single ones, which are mainly at the front here. So here I have the NARS, was this the Wanted mini palette? So there was a full size one. I still keep them in their packaging, bear with me whilst I take this one out. You'll see that, notice that a lot, I still keep them in their cardboard boxes, and really and truly I shouldn't but for some reason I do. So this is the Wanted mini. You don't get this anymore, and it's like that. I really enjoy this palette for traveling mainly because it kind of covers all aspects that I need. There are some things that are missing, like maybe a deeper shade, possibly a lighter matte shade, but I genuinely enjoy it and I have travelled with it before, so This is one that I do take with me often when I used to travel anyway, not anymore because, you know, it's been a good few years since I've traveled anywhere. This is fairly new to my collection. This is a Wet n Wild, what is this, Rose in the Air? Rosé in the Air. I think I have swatched this. Yeah, I have swatched it, but I haven't used it yet, so I can't tell you what the formula is like or anything like that. But it looks pretty. It's kind of similar vibe of the NARS one. The NARS one seems to have a lot more shimmer and glimmer to it, with the metallics and satins and stuff, whereas this one's a little bit muted. But this could be a good everyday kind of palette. I have this Revolution one that came in a Look Fantastic beauty box. This is the mini reloaded palette in Velvet Rose. I have used this one and it's actually really good. I did a smoky eye with it, predominantly using this dark brown shade, and I predominantly used the mattes. I didn't really use the metallic in here or the satin shade here, and it was really nice. It actually had good pigmentation and stuff, but neutrals, browns and stuff are generally easy to formulate. And I'll be honest with you, like, a part of me is a bit conflicted because I used to like Makeup Revolution. I used to think their makeup was good value for money and stuff, but with all the stuff that's come out of them over the years, I'm a bit like, do I want to purchase stuff from them? But at the same time, they do release some stuff that I think is quite nice and I would like to try it, and it's also in that price bracket that I can justify purchasing stuff, especially when I do my declutter. I know I'm gonna have a lot of things missing in my collection, like foundations and concealers and stuff, so a part of me is like, should I, you know, start purchasing from these brands? Let me know if you feel like that, if you know, want to purchase from a brand like Makeup Revolution or not. So this is a little something from Boots. I haven't used this, it's completely brand new. My sister did this gifting thing for Eid last year, and I think I won it in like a parcel or something like that. Yeah, I won it in a parcel. It looks like this. It's got one of those dodgy brushes that those old school palettes used to have. I don't know if I'll actually use it because some of the colours are like, I think this is supposed to be a blush and these are supposed to be like bronzers and stuff. They're too shimmery, they're too glimmery for me for bronzer, and the blush is a bit light, so I'm not sure whether I will use it or not. It might be one of those things that I might just put on Vinted to sell. Anything that's brand new that I no longer want to use or have in my collection, I'm putting on Vinted. I have mentioned it in a couple of my videos, so if you're interested, please look at the link down below. I'll put it in the description box. So this is a Bare Minerals eyeshadow palette. This is a Bounce and Blur eyeshadow palette in Dusk. This is what it looks like. I'm not 100% sure on how I feel about this eyeshadow palette because a part of me is a bit like, it's a bit underwhelming, but a part of me is like, I need to try it a bit more to know how I feel. I don't think this is available anymore anyway, so I don't know why I would really bother. But I have these old school elf palettes. This is in Need It Nude. I think this one fell on the floor and it shattered everywhere. I'll put a picture up if I still have the picture. I think I did take a picture, but yeah, this was the one that shattered, and I'm really sad because I really like these palettes. Like, these are some of my favorite palettes, and the fact that this has gone I mean, I can repurchase it again, and they have the new format as well, but I was like, I have it, so why would I repurchase the new one when I already have it? And then this one is in Mad for Mattes. This is the all matte one, and this is one that I used all the time, like, but it looks like I haven't used it, but I remember using it all the time. It was one of my go-tos. This shade looks really grey on camera for me, but it's more of a really brown, like a browny grey, and I think they have this in the new ones as well. So sticking to elf, I have some of the mini palettes. When I first used these, I don't know, a part of me was like, oh, this one smashed on the floor as well, it broke. And then I have another one, this one also smashed on the floor, so I had a couple of casualties there. But to be fair, I don't mind it too much because you can see I've got so much. I can just try and use these shades up and call this one done, and the same with this one. But when I first started using these, I was a little bit underwhelmed because I thought to myself, you know what, if you buy all of them like I have, You could potentially buy a whole eyeshadow palette for a similar price as what you're paying for all of these, but I guess you can pick and choose which ones you want. Like for example, so this one could potentially go, because I don't really get much use out of colors like this. I tend to use them really, I tend to use colors like this rarely. More of these sort of nude sort of ones. Even this blue, I used blue on my wedding day and it was similar blue to this, but apart from that, I like the greens and the pinks and the browns mainly. That's my go-to sort of colors, and that eyeshadow is just falling everywhere. So I just cleaned up that mess, and now I'm going to move on to the next set of eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to stick to the little ones, and these are the ones from Fenty Beauty. I don't have all of them. I only have 1, 3, 4 and 5, and these were the color stories that I was most interested in. As you can see, they're all neutrals and pinky shades. So this is 1, this is 3, then we have 4, and lastly we have 5. So those are 5 that I have, and to be honest, like, I didn't mind the formula. I actually quite enjoyed it. I like the fact that they're minis, they're smalls, they don't take up too much space, and you know, traveling and stuff was quite handy. And next we have Viseart, and I have a few of these Viseart palettes. So I have mainly the Edit and also the Étendue. I think Étendue, that's how you pronounce it. So I'm not going to open all of these because it's going to take forever, but I have the Rose Edit, the Warm Edit, Dark Edit, Spritz and Paris, and then I've got the Violet, and I got this one, but I don't know how to pronounce that, so you're just gonna have to read it yourself. I really like the Viseart formula. I wanted to buy more of the collection because I think, again, these are smaller palettes, they're easy to travel with, they're created quite well, and they've got really good formulation and consistency, and they work really well on my skin. I actually gravitate using these smaller palettes more than my bigger palettes. It's also the way they're stored. I don't really reach for my bigger palettes because my smaller palettes are stored at the front of the cupboard, where my bigger palettes are stored at the back, so it's easier for me to access them, but I also do enjoy them more. I would consider buying more of these if I had the means, but I don't. And then next we have a Sleek palette. This is Chasing the Sun. This is quite old. They had a collection out, and I really like this. I did a really cute look with it when I didn't realize I still had the plastic. Yeah, I did a really cute look with it when I used it, and I do enjoy the Sleek formula. It's a good formula considering it's drugstore, and I think, like, I don't know what's happening with Sleek. Like, I haven't seen anything new come out of theirs, and I have got quite a few products from Sleek, and I do really like their products. It's one that I would consider buying. So this is a Rust palette, and hopefully there's nothing growing on mine, because you know, there was that whole thing where everyone was seeing things grow on their palettes, and luckily there is nothing on my palette. And again, I really like this. I think these are kind of like my go-to colors, the nudes and the browns, and you know, the neutrals are my go-to colors. I do like color, don't get me wrong. I love actually playing with color and stuff, but for sort of like an everyday thing, I'm quite happy to just go with these because it's just simple, it's easy. Tell me if you keep the sleeves to your eyeshadow palettes and whether I should just get rid of all of mine. So this one's the Uma Beauty Black Magic palette. So I remember using this one and it was a bit patchy. I wasn't too keen on these glitter shades, so I don't know if this will last in my collection or not, but I want to give it one more go and see if I feel the same way, and if I do, I probably will declutter it. So I have this one, I'm not really going to talk about it. This is a new one in my collection. This one my husband bought me. I haven't even touched it. It's the Eve Essential palette, and it looks like this. It still has the plastic and everything. I haven't swatched it or anything. I want to do a video on Eve products because I've been struggling to find any information on Eve products with people of my skin tone online, so I was thinking I might just buy a couple of things and try out some of the stuff that she has because I'm curious of the blushes and stuff, because I've heard mixed reviews about them. And I have my Coloured Rain palette. This is a Safari Rain palette, and this is such a beautiful palette. I really love it. I love the greens, these metallic, they're foiled like metallics. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful greens. I really love this. Such a beautiful palette. This was one of the first palettes that I bought that inspired, like kind of made me want to do like my blog and stuff, and I started doing my blog because of it. This I got one in a giveaway. It's a Summertime palette, and it looks like this from an indie brand. I can't pronounce the brand. So it's a really pretty monochromatic palette, but I'm not sure how long this will last in my collection because it's not something I gravitate to. I'm someone who likes the bite-sized palettes if they're monochromatic, and that way I can pick up a couple and mix and match and stuff. Whereas when they're a little bit bigger like this, I just don't gravitate to it. Like I said, next year I want to really reduce my collection, so I need to be really mindful and careful of what I'm picking and choosing. But I want to again try my stuff before I actually decide to declutter. And then here I got two Milani palettes, and this is from the Salt and Pepper collection. So we have this one, which is Hot, Cool and Vicious, and this one looks like this. And this is a really nice palette. It's like kind of what I was saying about the monochromatic palettes. I like something like this where I have a variety of colors to choose from, but they all kind of coincide with one another, and you can use them all, you know, like combine them all together really nicely, make a cohesive look. And this is the other one. This is the Very Necessary palette. Even though the blues are not my everyday thing, I vibe with like the purples and the greens and stuff. So, and this is a great palette to go with something like the Elf matte palette. Like if you want a pop of color, I can dip into this. So it's got a really nice formulation. I really like this, and I'll probably end up keeping these because of collection purposes. And then I've got this Ace Beauté palette. This is the Flare palette. Now I love the packaging of this. Like it's really pretty. This is the old formulation, and apparently they've changed their formulation and it's meant to be much better. I'm in two minds about keeping a palette like this because I do have some colourful palettes in my collection and they do come in handy every now and again, but it's the formulation with this one. I'm not sure, you know, it was a little bit patchy on some and things like that, so I don't know if I would keep this one, but it is a really pretty palette, and it's one that I know I don't have this sort of colour in my collection, so I don't want to keep a whole palette for just one, so I need to try it out and see if it's something I want to keep or not. This is the only Morphe palette I have left. I used to actually own quite a few, but I decluttered them ages ago. And I know people don't want to talk about Morphe anymore because how they did their stuff dirty and the bankruptcy and all that stuff. So I'll just show you what it looks like. This is the True for Dare palette, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't mind the formulation on this because it's just neutrals, and again, this is something that I do vibe with because it's just neutral colors. I didn't want to get rid of this one because it was the safest one I had. All the other ones were like the colourful loud ones. And sadly she has shut down her business, but I have the Tati Beauty Texture Neutrals 1 palette. I think that's what it's called. Where is it called? Volume 1. And again, so my palette has seen better days, as you can see, but this is quite a nice palette because it has like an array of colors that I do gravitate to, and I have used it quite often. And you can see there's a little dip in the Soothe color there, and you know, that's how often I've used that color. I probably will actually consider getting rid of a few of my palettes that have these colors in them and just keep this one because I do really enjoy this one, and because it's got the different finishes, it just means I have one palette that has all the finishes I need and the colors that I like and want. Maybe I might just do that. I need to have a good look at all my eyeshadow palettes and compare all the ones with the similar colors and stuff. So next we have the Beauty Bay palettes that I own. So I don't have well, I have 3, and I only have the 16 pan palettes with the exception of the pastel palettes. This is the only pastel palette I actually own, and to be honest with you, I need to try it one more time because I remember it being really light on my skin tone and you could barely see the colors on me. So I think there's too much white pigment in it and it doesn't show up at all on my skin tone. So I need to try it one more time and decide whether I should keep it or not. That being said, I think it is my only pastel palette that I own, so I don't know if I would actually want to get rid of it, but then if it's not showing on my skin tone, what's the point of keeping it? So this is a nude 16 pan palette, and I remember really liking it, but I used it the other day and I was actually really disappointed and I was like, what is going on? So I used this color here as an all over lid color, and then I use this color in my outer corner, and then I use this shimmer and this shimmer and this shimmer, and it barely showed up on my skin. Like I was like, what's going on? It didn't lay down flat at all. And I wet the shimmers with my setting spray and then it sort of showed a little bit, but it wasn't like metallic or anything. It was just like a dull shimmer. Let me see if I can swatch it here. See, when I swatch it, it's really pretty, but when I had it on, it was like non-existent. So I don't know what's going on with that. And the brights one, I want to play with this a little bit because I actually did a look with this row here and I really enjoyed it a long time ago, but I want to try it out again. And then this is the fiery one, and I know this is very similar to another brand that I have. I think I have it. I don't know if I have it actually. I don't think I have it. I think I might have decluttered it ages ago, but this is what I'm talking about. I need to have a look at what I've got and what I haven't got. I need to try this as well, because if the same thing happens with the new ones where the shimmers are like subpar, I might just get rid of all of them. And then here we have a small collection of Juvia's Place palettes. So I've got the Nomad palette, the Saharan 2 palette, and then I've got the Magic Mini palette. So this is the Magic Mini palette. This is what it looks like. It's really pretty palette. I've actually used it a fair bit. You can see it's a little bit dirty, and I do really like this one, so I'm just questioning again whether I need those other ones if I have this in my collection. So this is the Nomad palette, and again this is a really my sort of speed palette where it's something I can just guarantee to get a good look out of and, you know, be quick out the door if I need to, especially now with like having a little one and stuff. I just need to be quick. So I think these sort of tones and colors I gravitate to more because it's just easy to think of a look and do it and be done with. And this is a Saharan 2 palette, and again this is a very pretty palette. This is kind of like the ones where I would use the Elf matte palette, Mad for Mattes palette, and then use one of these shimmers on top, or just to give a pop of color, because the mattes in here are quite deep, so I would feel a bit like it's for a special event or an evening out or something that I would use something this deep. But the shimmers I would use with like a normal matte palette, and give my look a pop of color. So this is my stack of Charlotte Tilbury palettes. I have 2 little quads, and then I have 3 of her holiday palettes, and I wish I had the other holiday palettes, but it is what it is. You can tell when I stop buying makeup. So this one's the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize palette, and I used this in a reel recently and I really liked it. And then this is the Pillow Talk Instant Eyes. This is a great everyday palette as well, something you could just pick up and throw on and get out of the door without thinking. And then I have this holiday collection one, which is Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize, and this packaging looks like this, and then it looks like that. So some of the colors are kind of similar to the Pillow Talk one, but the finishes are different. And then you've got this like purple section here, which is really beautiful. I think like purples, I actually really like purples. They're kind of like, I class them as an everyday shadow for me as well, because I think they look really pretty. These were free gift with purchase when I bought some stuff from Charlotte Tilbury, so I didn't pay for these, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I actually don't really like this formula, the Luxe Quad formulas. So this is the Pillow Talk luxury palette of Pops. I don't know about this one, to be honest. I feel like I've got a hard pan on my shadows already. Let's see. And it's this one. This one doesn't really swatch. You see, they're not like the best formulas. I'm not really the biggest fan of those. You can definitely get much better sort of shimmery, glimmery eyeshadows for a lot less than what you're paying for one of these. So I'm kind of glad I got them as free gift with purchase. I didn't actually purchase them. This one is, oh, this is in Pillow Talk as well, and that's this one. And again, look, and again you can see the hard pan on that this shade in the corner. The mattes are okay, but you know, it's not worth it for the price. I prefer the bigger palettes. The bigger palettes are so much more worth it. And then I have these. I don't really want to talk about these as well. This was awful. I hated it, wasted my money. And then I got these, which again I will have to play around with and decide whether I want to get rid of them. Even though I don't want to buy from these brands and support them anymore, I still spent money on them, so I do want to use them. So these are all my Tarte palettes, and I have these two travel palettes which I know you can't get anymore. So this is the Flirt Tartelette palette. This is what it looks like. I really like this one for traveling as well. It's really handy. And then we have Tease, and Tease is more of a cooler tone version of Flirt. So I just took them all out of their boxes to make it quicker. So this is in Toasted, the Tartelette palette, and I know one of my palettes were broken, but I can't remember which one it was. And then I've got Blossom. I actually like the packaging of these palettes. They're really pretty. Blossom's a really nice like cool tone version. And then this was an old release. I think it was released in 2019. I can't remember, but this is Young, Wild and Cruelty Free. It was called the Unleash palette, and I really like the palette design. It's really unique and different, and it's got these pretty, it's a new palette with a pop of color basically, but it's really pretty. I do really like it. And I remember really liking this formula too. And this is, I think this was a 2019 holiday release. I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020, one of the two. But this was the Winter Glam holiday release, and the formula in this was really nice. It's actually similar to the holiday release they have now, but I remember the formula being really nice on this too. I really enjoyed it. And then here we have the Tarte's Pro Remix palette. This has been discontinued. So this one's been discontinued, and it looks like this. This was quite funky. I can't remember how I feel about these. I don't know if I enjoyed them or not because it's been such a long time since I used them. And this one's the Tarte's Pro palette. Again, this one's a really pretty palette. It's colors like gravity. This broke, and I complained that they sent me like 100 mascaras. And if you saw my mascara video, this is why I got all the mascaras, because it broke. And I just sent a picture showing them, oh, it was damaged in transit, and they apologized and sent me like 5 different mascaras, full size. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. You know, so that was kind of them. This is like a mixture of cool tone and warm tone, so this is kind of like an everyday palette for me. But I need to try the formula out again and see if I want to keep them or not. So I'm just going to pull these ones out because these are ones that I'm not going to be talking about, and I'm actually really sad about this one. And the samples are going to go on Vinted, so if you're interested you can have a look at that down below in the link. And they will be cheap as chips, even though chips aren't that cheap anymore. And I am sad about it because I used to love this brand and now I don't. And I actually was saving to buy her new collection palettes, but obviously I'm saving money there and I'm not buying them. And these are all the midi palettes that I have. And I have some of the slightly bigger ones, which are these ones. Let's start with the first one I ever bought, which was this one. This is Modern Renaissance Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. We all know what it looks like. They've even come out with a mini. I still like it. I know people think it's dated and stuff like that, but I still like it. This is the next one I purchased, the soft glam palette. I think they have a mini of this as well. This is still available. I really like it. Again, all the colors are like go-to colors I would wear. So the Sultry palette no longer is available, but this has to be my favorite cool tone palette, and it looked like this, and it's a beautiful cool tone palette. Like, I love the formula, I love everything about it. You know, the dreaded subculture palette. I really like this color story. I think it's grungy, it's my speed. I can get away with comfortably wearing all these colors whenever, like, you know, on a normal day and stuff. I know the formula is a bit, you know, not the best, but to be honest, like, my one wasn't bad. You know, I have used this palette, you can see I've used it, but I don't have that like powdery mess everyone was having with their palettes. So I kind of stayed quiet when I got this and thought, like, I'm not going to be part of that because my palette's actually okay. So I don't know how I was one of the lucky ones who got a good palette. I just took them all out of their boxes because it was taking ages to take them individually out of the boxes and then put them back in. So this is the Prism palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is another lovely palette, and I thought I didn't have a shade like that neon green shade that was in the SBT palette, but I do in this one. So I guess it's going to be a battle against the formulas, which one's better. I might try and do one look on one eye with this palette and one look with the SBT palette and see which one's better, and then decide whether I should keep, which ones I should keep. I don't want to get rid of any of my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes because they represent a time in my life where I was obsessed and I just bought everything I saw, and I don't really want to forget that because it kind of makes me be mindful with my spending a little bit. This is the Norvina palette, and this is the palette that got me into purples because I used this and I was like, oh my god, purples are so pretty on me, so I'm gonna keep using purples on me. And then since then I became obsessed with purples, and I have quite a few purple colors in my collection, so I will keep this palette because I do really like this one. And then I had the Kali Bible palette. I don't like the packaging on this, it makes me a bit nauseous when I look at it, but I do like the colors inside, they're very pretty. This is the Jackie Aina palette. This is another really pretty palette. It's a little bit deeper, so this is more of like a going out evening type thing, but I can use it during the day as well, just with a lighter hand, so it's really pretty. Again, it's got those beautiful purples that I love now. And this is the Alicia Edwards palette. This is a bright colorful one. This might be the one that I get rid of, only because I have quite a few colorful palettes, but it also depends on formula. So again, I want to do like side-by-side looks and see which ones I prefer. But as I mentioned before, like in this palette I wouldn't gravitate to the blue. I probably wouldn't use the yellow either, or the black. The others I probably would use. The majority of the colors I would use, or actually I wouldn't use the white. I don't really use white eyeshadows, so I don't know. I'll have to just try it out and see. And this one has had the least use out of all my eyeshadows that I got, unless they're brand new. Now I'm going to talk about my Huda Beauty ones. I have one mini, and this is in nude medium, and I really like this palette. I wanted to buy the dark, but you can see I have plenty, so I didn't buy it. But for collector's reasons, I did want to buy the dark one. And then I think this is all in order of how I purchased them, but I can't really remember the older ones. This is the Rose Gold Remaster palette, and I used this the other day and it actually performs really well still, so I'm definitely keeping this. I'm keeping all her palettes. I'm a huge fan of hers. I think I missed out on one palette, which was the Naughty palette, I think, and it's mainly because of the names. I wasn't too comfortable talking about that, like that whole thing, but I might just pick it up anyway. And I'm definitely, if I haven't done so, I will definitely pick up the Pretty Grunge palette, because that's definitely something I want to pick up. This one is the Desert Dusk, and I use this as well, and this was still in tip-top shape, so I can happily keep that in my collection and still use it. This is the new Nudes. I actually really like this palette. It's such a pretty palette. This is when she started using those cream colors in her palette, which I'm be honest, I'm not really keen on, but it is still a really pretty palette. And then this is the Mercury Retrograde, and this is one of my favorite palettes. Like, I really enjoy this palette. I have used it so many times, and it looks like I haven't really touched it, but I have used it so many times because it's got those colors that I really enjoy, the purples, the nudes with pops of color and stuff. I really like this one. And then there's the rose quartz one. This is another one I really like. There's something about these colors that I really enjoy. And this is the Empowered palette. I wasn't really happy with this palette, to be honest. I've had such high expectations for this palette because when I look at it, it's like my ideal palette. It's got all the browns, the colors that I want, the everyday colors. It's like a day to evening palette and stuff. But I was disappointed in the creams. They didn't work for me. And I don't know if it's because, you know, I have really oily eyelids or something, but they just didn't work for me. And like, I do really like the metallics, but they're slightly flaky. And one of them, I can't remember which one it was, made my eyelids look a bit crepey. You can see the texture, and I wasn't keen on that. The mattes were fine, they performed really well. It was more the sort of metallic shades and the creams I wasn't too keen on. But again, like, I can use 90% of the palette and I don't have to use the 10% and feel like I've gotten my money's worth, so I'm okay with that. Last but not least, I have my most expensive collection and this is all my Pat McGrath collection that I have in terms of eyeshadow palettes. I really want to buy the last two that I've missed out on, the Mothership palettes, because for collection purposes mainly. But that's dropping like 200 quid and I'm like, no, I can't do that. And also I need to just get rid of all these, not get rid of them, but use them and decide what I'm keeping and what I'm not keeping. And then if I manage to declutter a good chunk and I can be proud of my collection, and you know, then I might consider it and be like, well, I've only got a few left, so, but we'll see. So these should be in order now, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm not good with Roman numerals and I could always Google it, but I'm actually using my phone to record and I didn't want to, you know, stop the recording. So this is Mothership 1 Subliminal. This is what it looks like if I have it the right way around. So this is a very cool tone palette with a pop of blue. Again, that blue is, I've only used a blue like that a couple of times in my life, and this is why I think I need to be cutthroat about what I've got in my collection and do I keep any of the other blues I got, because I don't really use it often, and I only keep this one because I'm definitely not decluttering any of my Pat McGrath palettes, because as much as if I don't use them or whatever and they take up space, I dropped a lot of money on this collection, and there's something that I really enjoy about them, the formula, the consistency, the way they sit on my eyelids and stuff. I love all that, and there's something special about when I use them. And then we've got two, which is Sublime. So this one's a warmer palette with a pop of green, and again, I actually have this green in a couple of my palettes, so it's something I need to look out for and see whether I want to keep them. So this is Free Submersive. So this is a really pretty one because you have those special shades in them, and it's unique. Like, you do get like neutral palettes with pops of colors like you've seen already, but this one has more pops of colors than neutrals in it, and I feel like you can use a lot of these shades as one and done shade. And this is Bronze Seduction. Bronze Seduction is definitely up my alley. It's that one where, you know, it has those everyday colors but with the pop of color here, where you can turn it into a nighttime look, you know, like from day to night type thing. I really like this one, and I think this one is for Midnight Sun, and I managed to get this one with the special casing, and this is what Midnight Sun looks like. Very pretty. And I think this is number 5, and this is Decadence. My package broke in transit, and I'm really sad about that because I like to have pristine packaging. And again, I bought this one with the special packaging, and this is what Decadence looks like. And then these are the last of the Mothership palettes that I was able to purchase. I think there's 2 more that have come out that I haven't purchased, and they're the 2 that I want to get to complete my collection so far. I also really want to try her bronzer. So this is Divine Rose. This is the first one, I think. Yeah, this is the first one. And then this is Divine Rose 2. This is in the special packaging. Sorry for my grubby fingers all over it. This one's a little more brighter. It's got that Barbie pink in it. Again, very pretty. And this one's Utopian Dream, and that's what that one looks like. This one has that coral shade, which is really pretty in it. This side's a really pretty quad. I can see myself using that every day. And then there's 2 more palettes that obviously I don't have, which I want to get. And then these are a mixture, like the 2 minis, and then I've got some holiday palettes here. So this one's a mini submersive. I should really get rid of this one because I've got the bigger one. I don't really need that. And then this is mini sublime. All the shades are the same, so I don't really need these. I might just give them away. I have this Blitz Astral Quad in Iconic Illumination. That one looks like this. It's kind of got a similar vibe to Bronze Seduction with the shade. This one is Nocturnal Nevada, which is kind of like my favorite one out of this collection, because look at those shades, they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And again, this is why I'm like, I need to go through everything, because I know I have something that's trying to be like this but isn't like this, and I don't really need the other ones. And then I have this one, which is Celestial Divinity Luxe Quad, and this is a beautiful purple one. You can see like it's got that periwinkle purpley color. Like, I know she's expensive, but at the same time I enjoy her eyeshadows. And this is the Blitz Astral Quad in Realistic Rose, so this goes with our other collection. So this one looks like this. It's very pretty. It's sort of like that cutesy romantic kind of shades. And then I have 2 from the Star Wars collection that she did a while ago. So this is the Dark Galaxy eyeshadow palette. Again, it's got those beautiful purples that I really enjoy. And then we have Galactic Gold and another beautiful purple collection. I do love my purples, and this is why I'm saying I need to go through my collection and just make sure that I'm not holding anything that's not necessary. And this is a Golden Opulence. I think this was for Chinese New Year one time she did, and this is what it looks like. I don't really like this packaging. I don't like the, I prefer it if it was in that Star Wars style packaging, but these are like everyday colors you can use, because it's got the browns and a pop of gold or pink or something. So it's a very everyday friendly palette. And then this was a holiday collection. This is Celestial Divinity. I think this was 2020 or 2019. There was mixed reviews on this. I actually liked it. I think for the price you're paying, it's actually quite decent, considering there are palettes out there that are a little bit more expensive that are not as good quality as this. But then, and this was 2020, and this was Celestial Odyssey. Again, I quite like it. I think the color story is fine. Like, if I only had a minimal amount of eyeshadow and I had this, I think it'll be okay. Like, if I had the e.l.f. Mad for Mattes palette and I had this, I'll be fine, because, you know, I've got the pops of color in there that will be like enough for me. And I realized that this color keeps popping up a lot in my collection, and I think I have it in that Tarte Unleashed palette and many other palettes. And so again, this is why I need to sit down with all my palettes open and have a look at what I need and what I don't need, and kind of swatch and play and stuff and really declutter. So this is all my eyeshadow palettes I have. I don't dare to count them because I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. But yeah, so next year be sure to watch out, because I will be decluttering as much as I possibly can, and I do really need to let go of things that I'm just not using anymore, especially with my makeup, because storage is an issue, and I just need to be able to have good makeup, easy makeup, accessible makeup. And right now I feel, after doing this whole series, I feel like I don't have that, and it's not giving me the joy that it used to when I did have access to my makeup. So, and there's things that I actually want to buy, but I can't justify buying it because I have so much already. And I know people might think it's a bit wasteful just decluttering so I can buy more, but it's more to I'm not going to just declutter, throw away for no reason. I want to try all my makeup and then make a conscious decision on whether I should get rid of it or just use it up, and then when it finishes then buy something else. and I will have affiliate links in my description box as well. So if you are interested in purchasing anything, I do get a small commission and I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. And as I mentioned, some of my new stuff I've shown in my collection videos will be on Vinted. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link down below. I've got my floral side hustle as well going on, Lower by Shazia. That's linked down below too if you're interested in having a look. And let me know what you thought about my collection videos. If you watch the entire series, I really appreciate it if you give the videos a thumbs up, and give me some feedback in the comments down below. And I hope to bring you more videos for 2024. I will be taking a break now, and those of you who celebrate Christmas, have a great Christmas and a happy new year, and I will see you in 2024. Take care, bye.